Hello, you guys. All right. So, of course, just would like to give some people some time to come on. And good day to all. All right. Meet you guys in 1 second. I hope you guys' day is coming along well. Get one thing before I. Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. Just wanted to get that. Waiting on a few people. If not, I'm still going to start anyway. I'm just going to give it about 5 minutes. You guys. Let's see. Let me put that in there. Now that is 11:47, right? 5, 6, 7. Yes. There we go. 1 Corinthians 11. 2 more minutes, you guys. Let's see. All right. What? 2 more minutes. Okay. Maybe I can turn on a little background. Let's see how this goes. And then again, why not? Let's see.
Rediscover your perfect combination at the China Resort Casino, where you can be an impact player.
All right. So, all right, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Good evening. Good evening, all. As I say, this time I was able to start at 5:45, you guys. And today I want to break down, the instructions of the Holy Father, the laws and commandments. Okay. I'm gonna break down the 10 commandments. That's let's see, and the 10 Commandments, Deuteronomy 5. And of course, you guys know, as women, this is our covering, so we're doing any prayer and prophesying. And because I want to teach you guys, the 10 Commandments, for those who don't understand, have them understand. And of course, I want to cover my head, okay? And I did explain why, I cover my head in my last lesson, but I will, for those who don't know, I read again, and it's in the King James Version, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 4-7. And it says, every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesied with her head uncovered, dishonored her head. For that is even all one as if she were shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of God, but the woman is the glory of the man. Okay. All right. So you guys see that's in the word, because the Bible, Bible, again, basic instructions before leaving earth. And I talked about that in my last lesson too. Of course, you guys can go back and view that. But like I said, today I'm going to be breaking down the laws and commandments, the instructions of the Father. A lot of people don't really, understand. Well, sometimes people, the Bible can be a mystery to many people. Therefore, he uses some of us, to break it down where you guys can understand it more smoothly, the smooth transition, All right. So, the Ten Commandments, it's in Deuteronomy chapter 5. I am going to be reading out the King James Version. Okay. Let me go to it. All right, here we go. Deuteronomy chapter 5. Okay. So, the Ten Commandments, of course, you guys, again, it's in Deuteronomy chapter 5. This is the King James Version Holy Bible. And I'm going to actually start with, verse 1 in chapter 5, so you guys can get a little bit better understanding, why the Ten Commandments are here. It says, and Moses called all Israel and said unto them, hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your ears this day, that ye may learn them and keep and do them. The Lord made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us alive this day. The Lord talked with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to shew you the word of the Lord. For ye were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mount, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Okay, so you see, these 10 commandments was given, to the children of Israel in Mount Horeb or Mount Sinai, which is like in what Saudi Arabia, in the area over there. Okay, and this was during a time when the Father, freed the children from Egypt, under the Pharaoh's captivity. The Pharaoh's captivity had the children of Israel, under, doing much, vigor and, and much tilling the soldiers, enslaving them basically, hard in a hard way, and the Father, brought Moses in, as a child, of course he was groomed by the Pharaoh and them, so they always was familiar with Pharaoh, being that the Pharaoh relative, Pharaoh daughter or no Pharaoh sister, basically, took custody of Moses, even though Moses was raised by an Israelite, which is his mom, Joshabam, the person who nurtured him was basically his mom, because the daughter sat back and watched the child, Moses, flow on through the waters, and those from, the Pharaoh village, Pharaoh's sister, then Pharaoh's sister servant saw Moses, and they draw him out the water, and of course, had his nurse fetched, which was basically his mom, Jochebed, and Jochebed's daughter, as well, who put Moses in water. So anyway, now Moses was a child, he was raised in the Pharaoh way. But of course, he came back to Israel. He gave all the, all the glory, all the, the jewelry, the praises, everything, and came back to Israel and came back to his people, learned that he was of Israel and came back to his people. So he gave everything up. Of course, he became, ruined in the eyes of Pharaoh now, but he was brought up, to bring those very same people out of bondage, so the Father used Moses to bring those very same people out of bondage, which leads us, to Deuteronomy chapter 5, where Moses is in Mount Horeb, being called by the Father in the mountains, giving these 10 commandments on the 2 tablets. Okay. Now, and that first commandment in here, it says, but we're going to start with verse 6 so you guys can know again. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Again, he is the Lord thy God, which brought Israel out of Egypt, that land of bondage. Okay. And these are the 10 commandments he spoke to Moses. And that first one was, thou shalt have none of the gods before me. Okay. Now, that may, sound like, okay, we're just talking about gods and maybe spirits, but no, gods can be physical, it can be mental, it can be spiritual, it can be whatever you make it, because God is something you make to yourself. A God can be a celebrity can be your God. The leader can be your God. Your boyfriend can be your God. Your girlfriend can be your God. It is whatever you want that God to be to you. Okay. Gods are like idols, where you got this particular thing that is so precious to you, right? And you love it so much until you willing to sell your soul for it, to put the Father behind that and praise this thing that's so valuable to you. That's a God. Okay. And that's an idol as well. Guys can be the statues and everything. You got people, who have statues and everything. That's their God, God can be money, a pastor, a God can be anything to anybody, is what that person, consider that thing of value to be, how much of value, how much it means to them, like I said, they're willing to sell their soul, or they're willing to just give it all, to do everything just to keep this, because this thing make them happy. Okay. That means, that's a God to them, and therefore, if they're putting their things before the Father, of course, then they're not taking the Holy Father to be their God. They're taking that thing they value so much to be the God of them. And, and that really angers God, because God is a jealous God. Okay. All right. And also I have Deuteronomy 6:14 down. And what do I have for that? For God. Okay, yes, I have, ye shall not go after other gods, of the gods of the people which are round about you. For the Lord thy God is a jealous God among you, lest the anger of the Lord thy God be kindled against thee, and destroy thee from off the face of the earth. Now, that's very powerful, even though you may not take it powerful. That last scripture where it says, and the Lord, will destroy you out the face of the earth, because you want to take this God, and make it so powerful to you, and to this God has got you doing so many things until it's leading to destruction, and then when you die, that's the Father take you off the face of the earth. Okay, so you got to look at it that way. When you die, you're just not, you're dying, you're dying in judgment, depending on how you live in your life. Okay. All right. Number 2, thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in heaven in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself unto them, not serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. See, commandments is basically instructions. Okay, and again, you see God say he's a jealous God, and he say do not make any graven image. And I talked about the graven image in my last video too, being that the whole BBWs and the cosmetic surgery thing, carving your body, that's a graven image. Of course the Father is a jealous God, because in his eyes we are gods too, even though we got the angels up there, but we are the lowest class of the angels, but we are in fact gods, and we are made in the image of God, right? So like the graven image of carving your body, that's a graven image, and the Father is a jealous God because our body belongs to him. We are made in his image, so we his property, right? And so he don't want you cutting it up and and carving an image into it. And that is in the earth, carving, your body is of the earth, so that's being of the earth. Or just carving a molten image, carving something that that you pray into, you get on your knees and you pray into. That's an idol. That's not of the Father. That's an idol. Those are those other gods. That's an image of the earth. Okay. Let's say another image. I would have to actually say following other people's ways. Okay. The things that they convincing you to follow, and because this is their idol, and this is making them feel some kind of way, and they seem to think in their mind that this right here is doing something to them. They convince you to fall for it, so following other people, making them an idol to you. So even human beings can be an idol. And all these things that we're doing, following these other guys and making these images and, and making these statues, or, our cars and our houses and our jobs, our lifestyles, an idol to us, not even caring how we getting it, not even caring, that the Father is allowing us the breath and everything, and the energy, the labor, all the gifts he's given us to be able to use, to perform, to actually, bring these good things to our life, and being that that we are putting all these things in our life and making these things of value to us, he is punishing our generations, up to the third and fourth generations, and that's in word, of course, which is part of the commandment, like I say, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. So all this stuff they're doing, the idols, and they bow down to all these images and these molten calves and all these, even to gold, silver, jewelry, pearls, whatever it is, those idols and everything, putting that before, making the Father, be jealous. Yeah, he comes, and he gets your seed. So that very seed, that's born of you, because you may not even experience in your lifetime, but it travels right on down to that generation. So we have to be careful on what we teaching our children and everything. But for those who are trying and observing, and trying to follow instructions and laws, commandments, of course, he have mercy on you. Right. And you will, he will honor the covenant that he made with our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay. All right. So that was and also that whole idol thing, it came about with Jeroboam, King Jeroboam. Okay. I don't know if you guys, this has got something to do with the kings. Like I said, I do a lot of biblical studying. Okay. Because there was David first, the king, and then his son Solomon, and because Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines, that caused him to follow other gods. Like I said, gods could be human beings, women, men. That caused him, to overlook overlook the Holy Father, or which his father is my father. Okay, so overlook the Holy Father, and follow, those strange women, of all those other different creeds and everything, and follow who they pray, which caused him to lose Israel. He had control over the whole Israel. That was Judah, and Israel. Judah, it was Israel at first, and Judah was included, and Benjamin, Levi was included in Israel. But when Solomon did that and went whoring, for all the women he had, following they gods, caused him to lose Israel, and then Israel became broken up in kingdoms. Now his servant named Jeroboam. Now Jeroboam was his servant. When Solomon was was in control over the whole Israel, over all the tribes, over all the 12 tribes. Okay. Jeroboam was a servant, but because of Solomon, I say, fall for the women, the father came and took Israel from him. He took he split it up. So instead of him having the whole Israel, he gave him Judah, which is the house of his father David, because again Solomon is David's son. So he split it up, and he gave, Solomon's servant Jeroboam all the other tribes, and he only allowed David, Solomon to keep one tribe. Okay. And Jeroboam, like I say, was his servant. So when Jeroboam got all the other tribes, Jeroboam was the first person that caused Israel to sin. And this is when Israel started to, serving idols and praising to other gods and everything. And, he started building altars in places because of Jerusalem was so far. He felt like, he wanted to make sure that they don't go back to David, so he calls Israel to, to come and pray in places where, there was, not of the Father, but of man doing. So he actually calls Israel to sin. He calls Israel to start, praying to these idols and these other gods. It was Jeroboam, who was Solomon's servant, who got who the father allowed to get, all the other tribes instead of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which Levi is in all the tribes, relates to priests of the 12 tribes, So like I said, it was Jeroboam though. So that's who caused Israel to sin. That's who caused Israel to start, praying to the idols and everything. Jeroboam, who was Solomon's servant, Solomon started all those, like I say, all those strange wives. So the father punished him, took the kingdoms from him and gave him one, and gave all of them to Jeroboam, who caused Israel to sin. And then from that point on, it was going down and up and down and up. All right. Now, number 3. Back to my page on here. Thou should not take the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. Now, some people don't really understand this one right here. But this one here, taking the God name in vain, is basically lying on the Father, blasphemy and everything, because vain basically means something that's empty, hollow, nothing, no worthiness, no good purpose. Okay. So using, the Father's name in vain and with no purpose, and just lying and blasphemy, that's empty, right? And that's also, when you honoring your Father with your lips, but you far from your heart. So you're telling everybody, you act like you're so holy moly and doing all this and that, but at the same time, behind closed doors, you the devil, the most devil it is, But you got everybody else thinking that you just as holy as ever. Okay. So that's honoring the Father with your lips, but your heart is being far apart. Also, laying aside the commandments for the lust, or your own hearts or your desires and everything, So, basically using, the Father word, twisting his words, to please your own, your own flesh, your own lust. Okay. Not holding true to the commandments. Okay. What the commandment, right from wrong, but you want to twist them and make them fit to your likeness and everything. Getting money while using the Lord name in vain. Like people, they go and they do everything, just use the Father to get money, and that's not enough. That's not a good thing, that's very punishable, so that's, using the Father's name in vain, using his name to get money, because a lot of people, will give money just to make them feel some type of way, especially in a spiritual way, so that's using the Father's name in vain. And saying OMG. Well, depending on what OMG mean, because I say OMG and I mean oh my goodness. But a lot of people be like, oh my God. That's vain, right? That's empty. There's no purpose to it, nothing. So there's no reason to say, oh my God, that's using the name in vain. There is no reverence to that or anything to be saying, oh my God. There's no reason to say that, right? That's taking the Lord's name in vain. All right. So I hope you guys understand that one right there. Thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. So if you think you just doing something, oh, that's a little white little lie, or I didn't mean no harm, you're not guiltless. So be mindful, how you use the Father's name. Number 4, keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God had commanded thee. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. All right. So the Sabbath day, actually, the Sabbath day, is a holy because, again, it has something to do with the children being free from Egypt. Okay. Like I said, the Father used Moses, and he used Moses was Robert. He had Aaron there to speak for him as well. Aaron was his brother. And when Israel was free, from Egypt, the Father made that day the Sabbath day. And that actually is in Deuteronomy 16:1. Let me read that so you guys can have a better understanding. Deuteronomy 16:1, right here. Observe the month of Abib, okay? And keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock and the herd in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there. All right. So you see, observe the month of Abib, okay, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. And actually, you guys, like there are, the months, for Israel. There are months too, but they're different. And at the end, I may read the months to you guys. Yeah, let's see. Also, Exodus 31:16. And actually, let me just let you guys know what Abib is. Abib, yeah, when the children was free from Egypt, which is March, the first month. So Abib would be the first month of the Hebrew calendar, March to April. Theirs goes from like 29, 30 days, 29, 30 days, and it go like March, April, then April, May, June, July, and so forth. And it's also called Nisan Abib, or Abib. And you can find that in 16:1, okay? And also mentions it in Exodus 12:2-37, Exodus 13:4, Nehemiah 2:1, and Esther 3:7. All right. Let me get back to that page I was at. Okay. Right here. All right, so let me read Exodus 31:16. All right, so Exodus 31:16 as follows. Wherefore the children of Israel should keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with with him upon Mount Sinai 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone written with the fingers of God. So you see, Sabbath was started with the children of Israel, and Mount Horeb with Moses, who was the father's servant. All right. So keeping the Sabbath is, as a covenant, it's also, it's a sign between the children of Israel and the Father, right? Because we are, chosen unto Him. We are the holy nation chosen unto Him. So that Sabbath is important, and that Sabbath is Saturday, And back in the ancient days, they was, praising and giving the Father glory and doing all the holy things on Sabbath, And Sabbath is a very holy day too, And also, we got to remember that Sabbath was made for man, not man made for Sabbath. Okay, so Sabbath is what you make it. However, the Father will want your desires to be on Him and not on you. So your desires should be irrelevant on Sabbath. 6 p.m. that Friday to 6 p.m. Saturday or for sundown to sundown. That is Sabbath. And that Sabbath is something you're supposed to give to the Father, or rest, or studying the Bible or something, just doing something biblical, spending great time with your family or anything like that, just showing much love or giving out love, Sabbath, keeping it holy and everything. Also, Sabbath got something to do with the plan. It's very important. Sabbath, the 7 day. The 7 day is a number that the Father also chosen as well. It's a very important number. Okay, so even when the years are planned on a Sabbath year, the 7th year, harvesting and planting, you're not supposed to plant. You're supposed to let it rest. You're supposed to let the plants and everything rest a year. Because everything rests on Sabbath. Okay, so 6 years when you're doing your harvest and you planting your seeds and your fruits and your trees or whatever, you do the planting. But on that 7th year, which is Sabbath year, you do no planting. You let it rest for that year. Okay. Let's see. Actually, and that is Leviticus 25:1. I have wrote down. Let me go ahead and read that for you guys. Leviticus 25:1. All right. Yeah. And now it says Leviticus chapter 25, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the Sabbath year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field, nor prune thy vineyard. That which groweth of it on accord of thy harvest, thou shalt not reap, neither gather the grapes of thy vine undressed. For it is a year of rest unto the land. And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you, for thee and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourneth with thee. So you see, even when it comes to planting or harvesting, that 7th year, you don't do anything, let it rest. So, that got something to do with us on that 7th day, from sundown to sundown, that Friday to Saturday, Sabbath, it's supposed to give it to the Father, you give him a specified amount of time. You're giving, you're doing everything that pertains to him on that day, on Sabbath. Okay. And I could be Mark 2. Mark 2. Let's see what I have for Mark 2. And that is Mark 2, 27, 28. All right, Mark 2, 27 through 8. And he said unto them, The Sabbath was made for man, and not made for the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. So you see that, right? So if the people try to say certain things, oh, you can't do this and do that. And no, it's made for man. However, you just got to be judgmental of that. Be reasonable to, making the right decision. Sabbath. It's not for your desires, but it's to, things of that's righteousness and holy. All right. And the last one I want to read was that Isaiah 58:13. I have wrote down for that as well. Isaiah 58:13. All right, and here we go. Isaiah 58:13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. So you see, now, like he's saying, your own desires, again, if you honor the Father, and don't honor your own ways, and not trying to, finding your own pleasures or speaking your own words, but honoring the Father, then that should delight thyself in the Lord, and he will cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth. Okay. Just following the Sabbath. That's the highest ordinance, the Sabbath itself. Okay. Keep that in mind. And then also the Father wants you to know. So and remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt. Okay. And that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand by a stretched out arm. Okay. Therefore, the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. Refrain from work or from like checking the do list, basically, like I'm saying, like studying biblical stuff and, spending quality time with family and friends, just doing something righteousness, refraining from your desires and, switching things up, minimizing housework. You're not supposed to do all that work and cooking because everything you do, for Sabbath is for the Father. So you prepare the night before, you do everything you need to do. You're going to cook, you're going to clean, whatever you're going to do, your hair, whatever, to get ready for that Sabbath, you do it the night before, so Sabbath, that means you focusing all the way on the Father. Okay. And the next one, number 5, honor thy father and thy mother, as the Lord thy God had commanded thee, that thy days may be prolonged, and that it may go well with thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Honor thy mother and thy father, for you will have longer days. That's very important. Because these days nobody's honoring anybody. And the children now, they're so disrespectful to their parents, elders and everything. And that's why I wonder everybody dying so young and so quick and everything. They're destroying their own selves. They're making their bed. They fall into their own pits. Because even though they may not read it, but it's already written. And then it's, you already done, like I say, coming out your mother womb, whatever. You got to hold on to it. You still need it, because you of your mom, right? So for the most part, a child would know, this is my mom and dad, I need to respect them. I would have to say maybe in a little bit time ago, because these days, respect is not really important no more, especially the generation we got now. Because me growing up, I knew to respect my mom, my dad, I still do, and my grandma, they would smack me in my mouth or something like that. We was raised more the old fashioned. I was raised more in a more old fashioned manner. So also I knew to respect my mom and dad and my grandma, because ain't nothing good gonna come out of it anyway. So you're not respecting your mom, your dad, your elders, trust and believe it's gonna come back on you, and your days on earth gonna be short. If you are disrespectful to your, to the mom and your dad and your elders, whatever you doing to them, it's gonna come back to you. And I hope the Lord have mercy on you when you get to an older age and you mess around being in a wheelchair, or somebody push you down some stairs and everything, because that's your comeback or your pay. You sowing what you reap for how you treat your elders and how you treat your mother and father. So when you became that certain age, something terrible happened to you. Now you're either in a wheelchair or you done got cancer. You just got your sugar so high you can't control your health. Everybody dying around you, all your loved ones. You're losing, your livelihood, your job gone. Just everything happening. Everything happening to you because you're not honoring your elders, your mother, and your father. That's very, very important. So even though you may not think that's important, it's very powerful because just like the Father is our Father, and we have our Father physically and we have our Father spiritually, right? But he want us to honor him too. So just where he wants us to honor him, he wants us to honor our mother and father. Even though putting him first, he wants us to honor our mother and father because just the way he love us, he want us to be happy, right? So here the Father want us to do what we want of our desires, the desire of our heart to be happy, right? But first we need to do. But if we're not doing it to do, how can he allow us to prosper? When you have no respect, you have no respect for your elders, your mom, your dad, your aunties, your grandma, your grandfather, no, he's not going to allow you to prosper. But once you learn to follow his instructions, then it's when you see your lifestyle change. You'll see the light, because of course you can't mix darkness with light at all, so be careful, your mom and your dad should be a light to you. You shouldn't be a darkness to them. You cannot mix dark and light. Okay, it don't work. And again, if you're not honoring your mother and father or obeying your mother and father, you're not gonna live your full of days anyway. You're gonna die. Less than the days that the Father had prepared for you. And before you even came, from the spirit world, in probation to this earth. But we do got free agency, so you more welcome to do what you want to do, how you want to do it. But be expecting, the consequences that follow it, the punishments and the judgment. The next one, what? Thou shalt not kill. That's given. Thou shalt not kill. But these days, killing is what? Much like a game, right? It's like may the best killer win or something, But we all know, we live by the sword, you die by the sword, But killing these days is like the norm. Nobody really cares about killing, like I went to the store, especially out in California, they don't care. I went to the store, I think it was somewhere in Long Beach. And it was this guy walking. It seems like he's gonna try to maybe do some stealing. And so, I'm talking to the man at the counter. He watching him. I'm saying something to the effect like, "Oh, okay, he's talking about the customer, but he just, I know he said something like, I don't care, I just blow his head off and get away with it, like he had no thought about it, no second thought about it. Like he said, he just blow his head off and get away with it. I'm just like, oh, okay. So, killing is like the norm, these days. It's crazy, but it is, But like I said, we live by the sword, you die by the sword. And what do I have here? Why do I got that wrote down? Let's see. I have Leviticus 24:17 written down for that. Let's see. Too far back, huh? I don't know where I was at. Okay, so I have Leviticus 24:17. And it reads, and he that killeth any man shall surely be put to death, and he that killeth a beast shall make it good, beast for beast. And if a man cause a blemish in his neighbor, as he had done, so shall it be done to him. Breach for breach, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. As he had caused a blemish in a man, so shall it be done to him again. Okay? So, of course, that's in the word, So, okay, if you are going to go around to kill people, you want to go around and kill people, you big man or big whatever you want to be, or big woman, whatever you want to be, you want to go around and you want to kill all these people, then just expect to be killed, By the same means you killed with. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. So that's given, you guys. Of course, you guys know, thou should not kill. Okay, but of course, I got Matthew 26:52. Why do I have that? Really, let me just see what I have for that. Matthew 26:52 reads as follows. Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled? That thus it be, that thus it must be. In that same hour said Jesus to the multitude, Are ye come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and ye laid no hold on me. But all this was done that the scriptures of the prophets be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. Okay, but the main part I just want you guys to know was 52. Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they take the sword, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. So again, live by the sword, die by the sword. All right. Now, here's the next one I have right here for number 7. Number 7, neither shall thou commit adultery, going to sleep around with other people's husbands. Okay, so that's given. Now, it don't say fornicate in the commandments, but it definitely says adultery, right? So you guys got to know, back in the ancient days, when they got married, they had witnesses, right? So they did not have a legal binding contract where they had to sign their names. It was witnessed by people, their brethren that's around them. Okay, so they weren't really thinking about, the fornication wasn't part of the commandment, but just committing adultery was part of the commandment. Okay, and of course, that's when you marry and you going, to go sleep around, on your husband or your wife, that's committing adultery. Like I said, like it basically says, neither shall thou commit adultery, going to sleep around with other people's husbands or wives for that matter. Okay, I'm going to read, I have 1 Corinthians 7, 1-3 for that. Let's see. 1 Corinthians 7, 11. All right, 1 Corinthians 7, 1-3. All right, so I have 1 Corinthians 7, chapter 7, verses 1-3, King James Bible, of course. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, nevertheless to avoid fornication. Let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. So you see, you're supposed to have your own wife and your own husband, okay? And even if you're thinking about just getting divorced, it's not even really easy to get divorced. I mean, these days it is, but per the Father, you will only be able to get a divorce for sexual immorality. So that just means, like, if the husband cheated on the wife or the wife cheated on the husband, that's when you get divorced. So if you call yourself going to get a divorce and then you're going to marry another woman, who or that woman trying to go get married again, that has got divorced not for sexual immorality, she's still committing adultery. So it's a double standard to that. So it's you commit adultery when you go out your marriage, sleep around with your husband and wife, and you also commit adultery, or the woman is committing adultery when she becomes divorced from her husband because of sexual immorality, and she go get married again. That's still adultery. Okay. And again, like I said, fornication is not one of the commandments, but fornication is just really sleeping around with everybody, fornicating around, that causes problems when you just fornicate with everybody. It messes up your pH balance. You got all these women talking about how their pH balance is, they need this stuff that going on. I don't know. It's just all weird and crazy to me. What they saying, they pH balance is messed up, some I'm saying from different men and all that. But what do you expect? You're around here fornicating, sleeping with all these different men. You should expect your pH balance to be off. You should expect to get a smell. You should expect a lot of things to occur, even sexual, transmitted diseases. You're going around here, you're fornicating and committing adultery. You should expect for all these things to take place. You should not make excuses and say, oh, it's the pH balance. No, it is because you're doing too much with your body. If you're probably doing too much fornicating, or you're probably committing adultery, which is bringing that stink smell to you, or bring your pH balance levels. It does a lot, because if you don't know, committing adultery and fornicating, it have punishments to that. Of course, you're getting judged and punished by the Father. You're sowing out, basically your body, or men or women, you're sowing out your body. So you're reaping, them smells, and reaping these diseases. See? It's 1 + 1 = 2. So no matter how you look at it, you're still being punished. And also I have Hebrews 13:4. Let me see what I have for that. Hebrews 13:4. All right. And that reads, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. See that? Let your conversations be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he had said, I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Okay, so again, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Okay, see, you going out there and you commit adultery, you're fornicating, or you've been a whoremonger, he will judge you. And, he's judging you with those STDs you getting, your pH balance off, your health messed up, you haven't, you're bleeding and you won't stop, all kind of stuff that's going on. All that could be just judging, because you're taking your body for granted. You're taking your sexual means, your sexual needs for granted. Okay. And that all, revolve around fornicating and committing adultery. Okay. All right. Number 8. Neither should doubt nor steal. That's given. We all know, that's not right to steal. It unconsciously, consciously, whatever. It's not right. Even though if nobody not watching, and you got all the opportunity and all the freedom to take it, it's still stealing. You ain't fooling nobody but yourself. I mean, even if you go to the store, sometimes, because I done before, and I had to I gotta be careful doing that, especially you're trying to follow the path. You gotta be careful, when you're trying to send a message, you want to make sure that you're living by example. Okay. And what I mean is, you go to the store or whatever, and you ringing up something, and maybe, it don't ring up for the right price. And I'm gonna have to say doing self-checkout, because I think if you're going through the line and don't ring for the right price, hey, that's on them. Okay. But just say if you're going to do self-checkout and you got 2 mangoes or something, and they have you to weigh or ask you how many you got, and you put 1 knowing you got 2. That's still stealing, and that's stealing from the person, who's feeding them out to their family. So it may be a corporation, it may be a huge store, whatever. It's still stealing. You may not even look at it that way, but it's still stealing. That little dollar, is needed to feed somebody. That person who's the owner of that corporation, the reason why he's selling these products so he could feed his family. So when you're taking from them, even though no one is seeing you, you still take from the mouth of that person, and you also cursing yourself, for your own family, to risk being hungry or something. Also, even though nobody's watching, the earth is recording you, because when the Father come back and judge you, the plants, the animals, everything gonna be, when he come, everything gonna scarce away, because they gonna be judged. They taking record too. So everything that's going on in this world that we doing, and we're not doing in public, we doing in secret, we stealing, we doing all the things, we being recorded by the earth too. So if you don't know it, you are being recorded by the earth, the beasts, the plants, the trees, do everything, the waters beneath, all the things that's going on, to those animals and the plants and trees, they'll judge you as well. So even if you don't think nobody's judging, you are being judged by the earth, because your whatever you doing is being wrote in the book of life. Okay, so you have to be careful. Also, stealing goes both ways. People setting things up, to bring on people to steal from you, right? So, and that is like building up treasures. You run around here trying to be big brawler baller. I mean, it's okay. You don't have to, flaunt everything. If people already know what you got, but you run around here, you got $1 million on your neck and your you got to floss, Rick Ross, and do all that kind of stuff, and people seeing it, so you ain't setting yourself up to be, stolen from. So they watch your every move. So they come in your house and take you out, and hope it don't lead to murder or anything, invade or whatever. They sitting around, they ain't got it, but you flung it. They like, shoot, I think he daring me to take it, or she daring me to take that. They throwing it all out there, and man, I ain't got nothing over here. But man, they sitting around here plotting like, shoot, they got everything over there. We can just go ahead and take them out one night. Since they want to flaunt it, that's not valuable to you. If you flaunt it, there's no value to you, because if you flaunt it, you send up them treasures, or you send, up for the spoil. Everything that you build, you setting up for it to be spoiled, to be stolen. And why do I got Matthew 6:19. Let's see. All right, so Matthew 6 and verse 19 reads, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust do corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust do corrupt, and where the thieves do not break through nor steal." Okay, because for where your treasure is, there will your heart be of also. Okay, so that gold in that car that you love so much, that's your treasure, that's of your heart. So that means you're doing everything for that car, to keep that car and to keep that gold, and you flaunt it and you doing everything. But what you doing is you flaunt it so hard until you set yourself up to be stolen from. You set yourself up to be a victim of death or anything, or home invasion. Okay, because it's not it's not, what you do is how you do it. Those people that's $1 billion, you don't see them running around here with $1 billion just on them, like the people who really ain't got no money, because those who flaunt be the main ones who ain't got no money. But those who got the money ain't around here flaunting all that, right? Because they don't need to define them. They know who they are. They don't need that material stuff to define them, because they know who they are. Now, I'm not saying it's okay. It's okay because to get a little bit of, treasure, it's all right. Your ring, your little earrings, your nose ring, all that, your chain, that's okay. But don't overdo it. There's no reason to run around with a big old chain this way that's holding you down, because people are watching that. They're watching, they plotting to get you, and it may not happen that time, but statistically, it will happen. And the world is getting worse and worse. So people need money. They desperate and they coveting and they doing everything. They run around here trying to live like the Joneses. They want things they don't have, but why not get it if you got it? They can use their $5 discount, come get it right from you. So be careful, right? Don't steal and don't set yourself up to be stolen from. All right, number 9. Neither should thou bear false witness against thy neighbor. Okay? Now, this is a moral thing, right? It got something to do with, like, how trustworthy you are, right? Can you be trusted to oversee something, establishment, without being tempted? They putting all this right before you, and everybody's long. They leave you gone. They leave you in charge. It's great established. Can't you be trusted? Where when the owner come back, you done right by his establishment, or would you just basically lie, make excuses and everything, so like I said, it got something to do with moral. It's also got to do it, being tempted from things, because when a person is tempted of something, yes, they'll lie. If somebody got something they tempted of, they lie to get what they want, and then and it can be their neighbor, their friend, their family, whatever, they will bear false witness against that person's name to get what they want, you know. And that's got something to do with a moral thing. That's got something to do with trustworthiness and everything, So even if it's little or small, it could be the smallest thing you think you're stealing. If you can't be trusted at the smallest thing, you can't be trusted with that big thing, right? So stealing, bearing false witness, even though that's a small thing, that's very, very huge, So if you run around here lying, then you're not trustworthy. You cannot be trusted, right? That got something to do with, like, spreading rumors and backstabbing and lying to get ahead, doing all these things is bearing false witness, against something or someone to get what you want, and even if you're going about that way and bearing false witness against their name, in the end, remember, it's still going to fall back on you. You're still going to fall in your own pit, because whatever you put in the universe come back, right? We all reap what we sow, and it may not reap that day, that night, that year, but you're going to see it. It's going to come to you. It's going to get that flashback. When it do come to you, that's when you're going to remember, like, man, I remember why this happened to you. It comes back. Everybody know that. When that time happens, you remember, like, man, yeah, I sure did that. It definitely came back to me. Once again, that's the moral thing, that's being shady, against your neighbor. Don't be shady to them, just lying on them because you feel like you can, or you feel like that person is so weak, I can lie and get away with it. That person ain't gonna do nothing anyway, and even if that person don't do nothing, it don't be because all the time that person's scared. It's because they know something you don't know. Like, two wrongs don't make a right, and hey, that's you setting yourself up for failure, because that person you doing it to, obviously they must be ahead in some kind of way, until you got to try to victimize them anyway. So they doing something good for you, to try to bear false witness against them. Something about their life that you envying, or covenants that make you want to bear false witness against them, right? So whatever you're doing to that person, you end up following your own pitch, because that person can keep on moving forward because they're doing theirs in righteousness. They're not bearing false witness against you or their friend or backstabbing, but they're doing theirs in the right way. And that's why everything looks so, the light is just, a tunnel is just so smooth. It's just open for them. And you wonder why, man, how is they getting everything? How they doing everything? But you got a lot to try to get what you want, and it's still not leading you to a winning place. So don't be bearing false witness against your neighbor. All right. Number 10, I'm saying, neither shall thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shall thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is in thy neighbor's. Okay. And that's got to do with something a covenant is, wanting what that person got, wanting what your friend got, whatever, who that person is, or you see, wanting what they got, coveting and being jealous, doing things just to get, what they got. Wanting their car, their house, their woman or their man, their life, just being jealous of their success, their children, the company, being jealous because they love, and you looking at them like they got everything you don't have, and then you ready to go to plot and do something to them, because they got all the things that you don't have, right? So now you trying to work hard or do whatever you need to do to go get, what they got, because you envying them, or you're coveting them, you're jealous of them, you want to be like them, you want their life, it's strange, you be amazed what happens. Now, I've been told before that I stole somebody's life. Like, and how do you steal somebody's life? Like, what? I stole your life? You can't steal your life. You got your own life. People just say the most darnest things. Like, I've literally been told that I stole their life. And you wonder, like, how do I steal your life? That was new to me. I've never heard that one. All the things that I go through. I went through things even as a child where, had people come do the strangest things to me. And, as I got older, I realized why. And I'm learning more and more, why. But like I said, I haven't told that I stole your life. And it's the most strangest things to me, But, and that was just me, because the person basically saying, I stole their life because they was coveting me and they wanted what I have. Like what? To me, I'm just a little known person just living. I mean, we may make different decisions, but it's because of how I want to live. We all entitled to make our decisions. To live the way we desire to live. And hey, I just choose to live a more subtle, laid back, humble, peaceful way. I don't, choose to cover if nobody will be jealous or envy them. In fact, I'm really, right now, doing these lessons because it's needed. It's needed. And like I said, I've been made groom at this point in time, and being that I'm doing these lessons and going down this path, I'm only teaching, because, and I'm not trying to be holy moly, I'm not trying to do none of that. I'm just trying to teach because I'm still human. I'm still Latrice, but being that I'm doing this, and trying to, motivate, uplift, and teach you guys, trust me, I done lost whole family members, straight family members that straight blocked me. I'm talking about 6 to 7 of them. Like, oh, okay. And what? Life goes on. I just be like, okay, that just means I'm doing something right. So all these people that is trying to block me and trying to like, don't be my friend no more. That just means I'm doing something right? And I know it is, and that's in a word too, and it's walk. Sometimes you gotta walk alone, because really, truthfully, all I need is my husband, trust me, the Father gonna lead him and then he gonna lead me. Hey, we gonna conquer the world together. So I don't need nothing else but the Father for him to send my husband. So, all those who are didn't have blocked me. I'm talking about straight family members, 6 or 7 of them. Hey, I know I'm doing something right, and I'm gonna have to keep moving forward. You know what I mean? But I just hope those that did like me, that you guys are learning, because in due time you're gonna need these lessons, so you can understand what you need to do. All right, and let's see. I have Matthew 22, 36, 40 wrote down. Now, even though I read those 10 commandments, there's still 2 commandments that are the greatest commandments, okay? So I'm going to go to Matthew 22. And that's 36 through 40, King James Version. And it says, this is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So, see? Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind, with thy mind. I'm sorry, that was the first one. 37, Jesus said unto them, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with thy soul and with all thy mind. Now, this is the first and great commandment. That's the first and great commandment. Again, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. That's the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So the reason why he say that these 2 commandments hang all the laws and the prophets, because these 2 commandments consist of love, right? And we love the Father with all our heart, mind, and soul, and we love our brother or sister the same way. How can we harm them? How can we backstab them? How can we bear false witness against them? How can we bear false witness against them? How can we kill them? How can we go, cheat with their husbands or their wives? How can we disrespect our moms and our dad? How can we lie? No, it wouldn't be that, because if you love the Father with all your heart, soul, mind, and your brother the same way, then you won't do none of those things, because love conquers all. It conquers all, okay? And I have Romans 13:10 for that. Let me see what I have for that one and why I have that one. Go down. Romans 13:10. All right. So Romans 13:10 follows. Love it work no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. So you see, love is fulfilling of the law. Again, it says Romans chapter 13, verses 10. says, love working no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is fulfilling of the law. Yes, love conquers all. So we just love one another. How can we commit, sin? There won't be no sins. And trust me, it won't be no laws and commandments, if those wouldn't just get out of order. That's the only reason the laws and commandments was made, because people who wanted to do evil. But if it was just righteousness, the laws and commandments, it wouldn't be no need for them. But they was only made because of our wickedness that we wanted to put out throughout the world. Let's see. Oh, this is very important too, because the things that we learn, we must make sure, that we teach to our children and everything. So I have Deuteronomy wrote down for that. Deuteronomy 6, 1 and 2. And that reads as follows. Now, these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whether ye go to possess it, that thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son, and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. So, that's just telling you he wants you to teach all this out, to the children and everything. Also 6 and 7 says in the same chapter, Deuteronomy 6, chapter 6, verses 6 and 7. And these words which I commanded thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou rises up. So even when you walk down the street with your daughters or your mom, talk about God, talk about the Father, the Son, talk about him. He wants him to be in your mind when you wake up, when you go to sleep, morning, noon, night. Morning, noon, and evening. Right. Okay. He wants you to be all a part. Everything about you should consist of him throughout your whole life. Okay. Let me read that one again. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart. Okay. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shall talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, when they sit in the house, and when thou walkest by the way, when they walk down the street, to the park, to the store, and when thou liest down, when they taking a nap, going to sleep, and when thou rises up, when they get up in the morning. He want for, him, the Father want for him to be on your mind throughout your whole life, throughout your the endeavors of your whole life. Think of him, and keep him a part of it, and you'll be all right. But those who don't believe him and they just got him out their life, trust me, they're not happy. They're having all type of miserable things going on, unhappiness going on in their lives. What else I have right here? All right. So like I said, I'm gonna read these months to you guys. Okay, and then read my last 2 chapters. But like I said, the Hebrew calendar, and I say, they know, because they got the pagans, like the Thanksgiving, the Christmas and all that, that's pagan or whatever. Now, I'm not saying, don't, enjoy time being around your family, because we are also, this Thanksgiving, being around our family and loving our family, right? But I'm talking about as far as just celebrating, know the truth. Celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that, because those are pagan holidays, okay? And as children of Israel, we have our own holidays and our own feast days and everything, okay? And let's see, the first month, which was, like I told you, Abib, that's when the children was freed from Egypt, okay? That is Abib. When the children was freed from Egypt, which is March, the first month. March is the first month, which is the beginning. That's why we say that's our new year. That's when things growing and everything, right? The beginning of things, right? The springing of things, So that's the beginning of life, Again, that is called Abib, and it's also called Nisan, Abib, Abib, and that's in Deuteronomy 16:1, and that is the Passover. That's the part of the Passover as well, okay? And the verses you can find these in is Exodus 12:2, Exodus 2, chapter 12, verses 2 to 37, Exodus chapter 13, verse 4, Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 1, Esther chapter 3, verse 7. All right, the second month is Ziph. The second month in the fourth year, the house of the Lord was built by Solomon. Okay, and you can find that in First Kings 6:1, and that second month is April to May. Remember, the first month was Abib, and that's March to April. Okay, so Abib, okay, that first month, March and April. But we talking about now Ziph, the second month, and that's from April to May. Okay, and that's called either Ziph, which is ZIF, Ziv, ZIV, or IR, IYAR. Again, First Kings 6:1, the months of April and May. Okay, the third month is Sivan. The third month is May and June. That is the month of Shavuot. Now it says, then what the king's scribes called at that time in the third month, that is the month of Silvan, on the 3/20th day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto Jesus and to the lieutenants, and so forth. And that is Esther 8:9. So you can go read that, and it talks about the month Sivan, the third month, which is May and June. The fourth month is Tammuz. Now, this month is for June and July. Now, they had a Tammuz in other books, but this is the only month, I could not really get a clear scripture. The only thing that mentions Tammuz is Ezekiel 8:14. Tammuz in there. That's the fourth month, and that's Tammuz. The fourth month would be June and July, and it mentions Tammuz in Ezekiel chapter 8, verses 14. The fifth month is Abib. Oh no, it was two of them like that. AB or AV. That's the fifth month. That's July, August, and that's got something to do with the month of Tish B'Aviv or something like that. That right there, it's not too much mentioned in the Bible neither, but it's part of the Hebrew calendar. So if you go through, you got to go through other ancient writings and other ancient books to get, more information on Tammuz, which is the fourth month, June and July. Which is, they do have a verse of Ezekiel 8:14 that speaks a little bit about Tammuz. And for Ab, AB, and that's the fifth month of July and August. It got something to do with the Tisha B'Aviv. Okay. Oh, no, I don't. Abib. Zechariah 7:15. Do I have Zechariah? Wait a minute. I got Zechariah 7:15 here. Maybe. Hold on. We might be in luck. Zechariah 7:15. What do I have for that? Oh, 7:5. It says, speak unto all the people of the land and to the priests, saying, when ye fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month, even those 70 years, did ye at all fast unto me, even to me. Okay, so it's just speaking of the 7th month. Okay. It's speaking of the 5th and the 7th month. Okay. The 5th and the 7th month. All right. So again, speak unto all the people of the land and to the priests, saying, when ye feasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month, even those 70 years, did ye at all fast unto me, even to me. And that's in Zechariah chapter 7, verse 5. And I also have Zechariah 8:19. So it's saying something else again about the 5th month. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th shall be to the house of Judah joy and gladness and cheerful feast. Therefore love the truth and peace. Okay, so yes, it's talking about the 5th month in Zechariah, chapter 7 and 8. Now it doesn't specify Ab, but Ab is the 5th month, and it's got something to do with the month, the Tisha B'Aviv. Okay. Now, the 6th month is Elul, and that's from August to September. Okay, and that's in Nehemiah 6:15. You want to learn something about Elul. The 6 months, August through September, and like I said, that's in Nehemiah 6:15. It tells you about Elul, about that month. And the 7 month is Tishri. The 7 month, Elul, I'm sorry, it's Elul for the 6 month. The 7 month Tishri, Tishrei. That's the 7 month, and that occurs between September and October. And they also, you can call it Tishri with Tishri, or Etanim, Etanim, or Ethanim, Ethanim. And that is the month of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. And I know Yom Kippur, Sukkot, that's a 10-day period, where people trying to, repent and get themselves together, because that when Yom Kippur come, when Sukkot come, that's when the judgment come, something to that effect. But you can read about that in 1 Kings 8:2. That will tell you more about that. Again, that's the month of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. That is the 7 month and it occurs between September and October. Tishri, Tishrei, or Ethanim, Ethanim, or Etanim, Etanim, or Tishri, Tishri. 1 Kings 8:2. And the 8th month is called Hashavan or Mashavan or Bul, Bul. And that occurs between October and November. And you can read about that in 1 Kings 6:38. And it got something to do with an 11th year in the month Bul was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it. So was he 7 years in the building of it. Okay. So again, that's Hashavan or Marshavan. Hashavan. Heshvan, or Marshavan. Marheshvan. That's the 8th month, or it's called Bul, Bull. And you can read about that. 1 Kings 6:38, and that will be October through November. All right. And the 9th month is Kislev or Cheslev. Kislev is Kislev, or Cheslev is Chislev. That's the 9th month, and that occurs between November and December. And that is the month of Hanukkah. Okay. And I have Nehemiah 1:1. It says the words of Nehemiah, the son of Hashaliah, and it came to pass in the month Chislev, in the 20th year, as I was in Shushan the palace. Okay. So that's doing with the king, with Nehemiah and everything. Doing the building of the wall and the temple again. But you can read more about that, Nehemiah 1:1 and Zechariah 7:1. And a 10th month is Tevet, Tevet. And that's the 10th month, and it takes place in December and January. And that says what? So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, Tevet, in the 7th year of his reign. So it's called Tevet, Tevet, or Tebet, Tebeth. All right, and that is Esther 2:16. You can read more about that. The 11th month is called Shevat, 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 or Sabbath, Sebat. And the 11th month is the month of January through February. Okay, you can read more about that on Zechariah 1:1. And that says, upon the 24th day of the 11th month, which is the month of Sebat, in the 2nd year of Darius, came the word of the Lord unto Zechariah, the sons of Berechiah, the sons of Edu, the prophet Sam, and so forth. So again, Sabbat, Sebat, or Shevat, Shevat, and that occurs in the months of January and February, which is the 11th month. And you can read more about that in Zechariah 1:1. Zechariah chapter 1 verses. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Zechariah chapter 1 verse 7. So Zechariah 1:7. And that 12th month is Adar, Adar, and this occurs between February and March. This is the month of Purim, okay? And the Purim has something to do with what Mordecai and Esther, when they went and King Ahasuerus, allow Mordecai to be the right-hand man. Esther was the queen, so Mordecai then for his people, allowed them to get wealth and everything, and that's what Purim came about. And that's the 12th month, Adar, February through March, the month of Purim. And it says, and this house was finished on the 3rd day of the month, Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king. And you can read more about that in Ezra 6:15 or Esther 3:7. Okay. And like I say in the Bible, remember Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth. So as you see, even the months in here, the calendar year, everything. So of course, Israel have they months and their feast days. I'm gonna break down the feast days in my next video. Okay, I'm not gonna break down those right now. I'm gonna tell y'all why those feast days was, what they're celebrated for, when they're supposed to be celebrating everything. Okay. But again, Bible, Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Everything that's occurring on this earth has already happened before, okay? And it's just happening again. Even the technology, they had their technology back then. The scientists still trying to figure out how they made them pyramids and, all these drawings and these buildings, these establishments. They're like, how did they do that back in these days? Because they had technology too. We just didn't know about it. We come with us, in our time, in our point in time, just like, during their point in time, they had their technology and it was way better than ours because we still trying to wonder how those pyramids was built and how those 3 points is facing like that, facing like the host of the heavens, the sun and the moon and the stars and all that, for all to meet for a reading, when the Israelites was doing the reading of the host of the heaven, which is the stars, the moon, the sun and all that. All right. So of course, like I said again, the Bible's for instruction. It's for reproof. It's for correction. And I got these last two, Titus chapter 2 and 2 Timothy. Titus chapter 2 and 2 Timothy, I'm going to always read those at the end, because I want you guys to get in your mind that the Bible, Bible, basic instruction before leaving earth. It is for correction and instruction and reproof. Okay. Let's see. Titus. Why do I have Titus chapter 2? Let's see what this says. Smaller chapter, Titus? All right. So I have Titus chapter 2. Okay. And it says, King James Version. Titus, Titus, chapter 2, King James Version. And it says, but speak thou. I'm starting with verse 1. I'm going to read on. I'm just going to read chapter 2. It's not that short, only 15 verses. All right. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged man be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patience. The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not giving too much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands. Good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed. Young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded in all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works, and doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. Exhort servants to be obedient unto their own masters, and to please them well in all things, not answering again, not prolonging, but showing all good fidelity, that they may adorn the doctrine of God our Savior in all things. For the grace of God that bringeth salvation hath appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world, looking for that blessed hope and the glorious appearing of the great God and our Savior Jesus Christ, who gave himself for us, that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify unto himself a peculiar people, zealous of good works. These things speak and exhort and rebuke with all authority. Let no man despise thee. And my last verse, chapter 16, 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verses 16 through 17. All right. So 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16 through 17 reads as follows in the King James Version. All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. Okay. So you guys, I hope you guys understood those 10 commandments that I just read down. I read to you guys, okay? I hope I broke it down where you guys understood me well. I try to be very thorough as possible. Okay, so now I want you guys to know that don't think that the Father just wants everybody to be holy moly. No, He wants you to be happy. You know, He wants you to have a joyful life, a peaceful life, prosperous, everything. You know, so it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Okay, you know, you can have fun. Nobody's saying that you can't do this and that, be covered up 24/7 and everything. No, you know, be modest. You know, just be considerate of things. You know how you live, or you know how you go about life. You know, that's all that matters. Just being righteousness and not putting forth evil. That's all I'm talking about. Just saving yourself, salvation. You know, that's it. You know, because just believe me, I'm not Trees. You know, a lot of you people know me. You know, people I grew up with me. They know me spontaneous, having fun, and everything. You know, however, you know, I'm just considerate of how I walk throughout my life. You know, because I do understand that we sow. So I'm careful what I do. I don't want to get to a certain age and then what I done when I was younger coming back and it's coming to bite me now and I'm older and I ain't got nobody to help me. You know, I'm reaping what I sow. No. When I get a certain age, I still want to be able to drive it like it's hot, you know, and do me, you know, not like being no whore. I'm just saying being able to move around. I can still drive it like it's hot. You know, I get all this engine and everything, you know, because that's my reward. You understand? What you put out in this world determines what your reward going to be in the end. You know, hey, I don't look forward to being nobody wheelchair. I don't look forward to getting cancer, diabetes, high sugar. You know, now high blood pressure. You know, I think that runs through the black people anyway. So of course I've been told I have high blood pressure, but it's okay. I don't take medication for anything like that. You know, I just watch what I do. You know, and you know to bring it down. You know, but I don't look forward to getting no type of major disease that's going to hinder my growth. I don't look for it. I only look forward to being very energized and getting more as much as I become older. I look forward to living the fullness of my days. Like Abraham, he died in the fullness of his days. You know, like Sarah. You know, they didn't die from diseases. You got many people. They don't have to die from diseases. I wanna die naturally in the fullness of my days. So I'm careful of how I treat people, what I put out on this earth. You know, how I talk to them. You know, it's that matters to me because that determines who I'm going to be when I become older. You know, don't forsake wisdom. You know, and believe. You know that the loving Father is the first beginning of having wisdom. Okay, fearing the Father. I'm sorry, is the first beginning of having wisdom, right? And don't forsake wisdom. And wisdom is also knowing things, what they can do, you know, the result, you know, that comes from them, you know, and letting it go before it even happened to you. All right. So I hope you guys learn from this lesson of me breaking down the Ten Commandments. I also told you guys about the months of the Hebrew calendar and everything. And again, like I said, I'm gonna break down the holy days and everything. So you guys can know there are feasts, you know, days. So the same thing that go on with the Christmas and the Thanksgiving and Easter, you know, Israel, you know, got feasts too. We give gifts and, you know, celebrate. So I'm not saying, oh, I didn't celebrate Christmas. Of course, I done Christmas, Easter, I done all of them. Okay, when we know better, we do better. Okay, and I'm not saying that I don't be around my family. You know, of course, I'm be around my family during those days, but they know my stance. You know, you're not gonna hear me saying Merry Christmas or Happy, you know, Thanksgiving too much because I know that we do have those are days that was created by other men. You know, that had us to follow other gods. You know, that's all got something to do with following other gods. Okay. Remember the God is only one God, and you know He have His laws and commands and His instruction, and His feast days and His holy days. You know, but it's from that one God. Everything else we doing that's following other gods. So all these other holidays and everything that's going on, those are other gods' holidays. Okay. And like I said, I hope you guys learn from me and share. Please share this streaming, because I'm just here to try to uplift, teach, guide, get things in order. In this appointed time, this is what I've been made room for. So I hope you guys very well learn something. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.